Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
And welcome back, viewers and listeners, to the Two Dads podcast. You have reached us here at episode 5. And just to make sure, that's TOO.
It's number 5 is alive.
Number 5 is alive. And that guy there you heard is Sid, and I'm Phil, and we are the Two Dads podcast. And the reason why Two Dads is we are too much.
Because we're so much like dads.
That's it, as you've heard before. And how you doing, Sid? It's been a week.
I don't know. It's
You
your
been
favourite
well?
day of the week. It's Friday.
Podcast Friday. And
for once on a Friday, no one has tried to remove the jam out of my donut. So I'm even more happy.
Start.
Actually, a little shocked.
It's a good start to the podcast.
It's like staring at a loaded weapon, thinking,
It's a good
time's going to
start.
go off.
I like that. So
It's a good start.
it is. And thanks for
It's a
those
good
who've reached out to us on YouTube and subscribed. Thanks so much for your support, and everyone on Anchor and Spotify for tuning in and listening to our podcast. We really do appreciate it. And for those who are new, Two Dads is because we love a good pun. And
Love a good pun.
we do. And I'm
It's
sure
a dad thing.
it's a dad
It's a dad
thing.
thing.
And the whole premise of our podcast is to write a love letter to common sense. And we pick a topic. Well, Sadiq picks a topic every week, and we discuss. And I have to ask Sid, who is going to receive our love letter of common sense on this episode?
Well, firstly, we come to you from Melbourne in Australia. All depends on where you're listening from. So you've joined us in a very auspicious week where I believe we are the only city in the world that has a holiday for a horse race.
I believe
I
so.
don't know if I'm wrong, but I think we are the only ones.
The whole state has a holiday. It's not.
No, it's actually only the Melbourne area.
Oh, it is Melbourne Metropolitan.
Yeah, I've got sites in regional areas
regional
that don't celebrate Melbourne Cup
Bizarre.
or don't observe. Shouldn't be so much as celebrate. So
they go to work on that day, unlike metropolitan people who just decide to take it off.
Yeah, so we'll still have a holiday for something that's completely outdated and completely irrelevant.
Do it for grand final.
Sport of horse racing.
And the sport of football.
The sport.
Do it for that.
No, at least for football is a sport.
True.
It's not just beating the hell out of a horse down a.
Be very careful. We may have some
with a little man on the back.
Animal liberationists that listen.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. It's completely outdated.
They could
irrelevant in modern times.
I think they could do it differently than the Melbourne Cup. I just sheep with little monkeys on the back.
That's even worse.
No, it's.
Well, I suppose no one's hitting the sheep.
No one's making fun.
And everyone can have lunch afterwards.
That's right. I think it's a bit more entertaining. That's all. Anyway, we better move on and get on to the real stuff.
Sorry.
Get on to the real stuff.
So the pun for this week, we just thought we'd start.
Okay.
In South Melbourne.
Yep.
In South Melbourne, you can enjoy what the fur.
What the fur?
What's the fur?
What's the fur? What
the fur? Vietnamese soup, pho. It's actually, I have it on very good authority that it's said pho, even though it's spelled PHO.
So it's not pho,
it's
pho.
Pho. So the restaurant's name is What the Fur.
What the fur?
Which sounds even more funnier in a Vietnamese accent.
That's a great one. That actually, and that's pretty much on par on last week's New Come Den.
Yep, it's
on par with New Come Den. Right. Nothing like number 6, the cream of some young guy. But what the fuck?
It's always the follow-up.
It's right.
So I thought as well we could move things forward with the whole stereotype of being for dads, for dad jokes. So I decided to say some dad jokes.
Yes. Okay, you got some dad jokes. All right, let's go. Let's jump into it.
Some dad jokes as well. So
okay.
What's the difference in between a hippo and a Zippo?
A consonant?
Okay. Consonant.
No.
One's really large and heavy, and one's a little lighter.
Hey!
Hey!
That is a dad joke.
Okay, I've got one more. I've got one. I've
That's a
got one more
great.
that's equally as bad.
Okay.
Why don't any monsters eat their ghosts?
Oh,
Why don't any monsters
monsters.
eat their ghosts?
Oh, no, no idea.
Because
Why?
they taste like sheet.
Yep. Boom. That's. Did you Google these? Or did you ask someone for them?
No.
You had them?
These
You had 'em
ones
in-
have come from a subscriber. Shout out
Oh,
for Natalie.
no, thank you, Natalie.
She's a good supporter of the channel
That
and a good supporter of what we're trying to do here.
tastes
We're
like.
trying to write a love letter to common sense.
We are. We always try to. We always
This
try
week's
to.
for number 5.
Yes.
The topic is something that you're going to love.
I'm going to love.
Yep.
I've loved them all so far, so you better top it.
and I'm going to call it for conspiracy this.
Wow.
Conspiracy this.
Conspiracy
Episode
this.
number 5.
A few of those flying around.
Yep.
That's for
Now,
sure.
obviously, we have to be careful with how we choose
Yes.
our words, considering the platform
Yes,
that
absolutely.
we are on.
Yes.
So we'd have to be quite careful in how we say some of the things that we're going to say.
Absolutely. And it depends which way we steer the conversation as well. I guess, just for full disclosure, we in no way purport to convey or give or communicate any sort of conspiracy. I think if I know Sid as well as I do know Sid, I think his interest is more around the reason why we come up with conspiracies and what drive people to, and what fuels them to look for information to fuel that conspiracy and things like that. So we may not look
and how devoid of intelligence they can actually be.
Yeah, well,
to believe in
sometimes
such things. Well, the intelligence maybe is a bit strong, but
maybe divorce from reality a little bit as well. So
I think the problem is that it seems far easier to believe a lie than what it is to believe for the truth. So maybe people find support in theories that are completely against anything that's logical and sensical.
I guess it may also be aligned to what they hold as their beliefs as well.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a consideration to make. And a lot more work goes into substantiating a lie than what goes into, the truth. Because the truth, that's it. That's what it is. There's not really much more you can, you have.
Yeah, and I'm a huge advocate of really for critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Because
absolutely, it's going to make sense.
You should question.
Yeah, undoubtedly,
and be free of thought. You should be able to think, well, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that ethical? Am I happy with that statement? Mm-hmm. You should be able to make your own way through what is a tsunami of misinformation.
There's a lot of information
on the channel. We've highlighted a lot of it.
Yeah,
we've been silenced for some of it. But,
well, misinformation is maybe if we don't call it misinformation, but just information in general. There's a lot of information out there, and I think
maybe now because it's so easily accessible.
Well, absolutely, through all sorts of social media platforms and the internet, and anybody, you and I could start up a web page and start blogging information and putting information and ideals out there.
And there's no real infrastructure there to actually say, hey, you can't say this.
Well, it depends what platform.
This is no true. Yeah.
clearly some platforms have taken a stance on that.
Yeah,
YouTube,
like YouTube,
yeah, YouTube is one of them, and I think they should be
which
congratulated in
which
doing that.
which we support. Yeah,
hundred
which we
percent,
support. Yeah,
100%. And
so I think there should be some sort of some sort of editorial
mhm.
oversight so that
Because
we can maintain
I guess
common
yeah,
sense.
that's right. Well, I suppose with the conspiracy, this topic, which is a very good topic, uh, it's what I find interesting is the reason why there needs to be a conspiracy. Why have it? What's so important about conspiring about a situation and needing to gather the information to, I guess, debunk the truth? It's almost like trying to debunk the truth in a way.
Yeah, because it's so unacceptable to be able to just accept that what you are being told
Mm.
is the truth and that's the reality. So maybe it's like a way for you to allow your brain to switch off. And you don't have to deal with the reality. You can indulge in some kind of fantasy, and the blame falls on someone else.
Someone
Like,
is that's an interesting
yeah,
point. That's
yeah,
actually quite an interesting point. Being
because I think it's
accountable.
very more. It's maybe if mentally confronting for
Mm.
for some people to accept things the way they actually are. Like,
Yeah.
and the way which we have both experienced people trying to inform us of something that it's like a secret that no one else knows, but
Mm.
they are revealing this
Exactly.
to you. Like, one of the small ones was like, which I was told this by a person whom I know very well.
Yeah.
He said to me that the media doesn't advertise it, but for Dan Andrews, who
Mm.
is who is the who is the premier of our state,
Mm-hmm.
him,
Mm-hmm.
Dan,
Mm-hmm.
he's actually had all his family move up to Queensland.
Really?
So all his family lives in Queensland, and he's the premier of our state. So for those international viewers and for listeners, Queensland is another state of Australia, far
Northern.
north.
Far north.
We're in
Everything's north of us,
we're in one
except
of
for
the southern
Tasmania.
states, so everything's north of us. So
Except Tassie.
yeah,
Shout out to
so one of
Tassie.
the
We've got a listener
local,
in Tassie.
yes, we do. Shout out to Gayan.
Yeah, Gayan. How you doing, brother?
And yeah, this is one of for the local ones that they claim that his family moved up to Queensland, which is just, I don't even know what I can't even understand what is the purpose of that. It just
Yeah.
it's
What I find interesting is how these individuals are the fortunate ones to find out something which others in society who hold probably a higher post and position or
yeah
stature, they know nothing about it, or it doesn't come out some way. So that's what I find the most interesting, that these theories, it's is it rumor? To me, I just take it all as rumor. That's what I see as a conspiracy.
but
theory. It's
for
just a
you to
rumor.
actually
I
say
find it
that
hard
to another human being
I feel like an idiot
and
saying
not be embarrassed, that
I can't. I just personally, I mean, that's me personally. I don't hold conspiracy theories. What I like, I guess, in my mind is if I have a theory, I want it to at least have some sort of factual substance around it, some logic behind it. What makes sense, not what's not something which is just, as you put earlier, devoid of reality and divorced from reality as well, for the purpose of just shifting blame or perhaps for whatever other reason. I can't even articulate it. That's how difficult it is to try and discuss the topic when you're not the conspirator.
Yeah.
But I've heard plenty of them, and I ask the questions. I go through the process of asking questions. I consider logical questions, and you can see that for me, it's almost like they make things up on the spot to try and bolster the theory that they have, or they
Yeah,
struggle
I
to
mean,
come up with things to say.
we're starting out with just small ones, ones
Yeah,
that don't have any wide-reaching, really. So there's
no.
another one which was told to me by a previously known celebrity that I've called for Koki the Smurf.
Oh yeah, Koki.
Yeah. Koki, his wife used to work for an insurance company,
Mhm.
and he claimed to us, shout out to Steve again, and he claimed to us one day that what most people don't know, that all the calamari is actually made from pork.
Or the calamari.
So the calamari in squid rings
It's made
is
from
made
pork.
from pork.
Which part of the pork? Which part of the pork? Which part of the pig?
I
The
don't know,
squid
but
part?
all our laughter wouldn't. We didn't really hear what part of the pig, and he would swear to us that this is the truth, and we all
Are you
have
sure?
been fooled. So I don't
Wow.
know. Again, I don't understand what the purpose of it is, but it's just one of those things that stuck out in my
That's
head.
that's interesting.
People have these, and they always have some way of making it factual,
Yeah.
because this person
This person told
was
me.
so and so. This person told me, and obviously it says, "Oh, my wife works for an insurance
This.
company." Yeah,
What's the relationship between the insurance company and?
I don't know. Maybe because they're worried they can get sued because it's not actually octopus,
Wow.
or well, it's not even octopus. Squid rings is it's
It's
squid for the
squid.
cuttlefish, and
Well, clearly, no, it's not.
yeah, but it's the same
It's
family.
pork. It's pork. Apparently.
so so if ever you find yourself somewhere in a restaurant having
Wow.
salt and pepper squid and you think it tastes like pork, that's probably
You're
what's
onto
going on.
something. That's an
It's
interesting
food
one.
fraud.
That's an interesting one.
So yeah, that's just one of the ones that stuck out in my head. But um, there's no easy way to say this.
You've
So
got what have you got?
what about Pizzagate?
Pizzagate.
You've never heard of that?
No.
The pizza shop in America that apparently has a whole for level that is all this underground, where Hillary, for Clinton, the Rothschilds,
That's a
and
little.
all these very rich and powerful people are for murdering small children and
Whoa.
consuming their blood. Never heard this?
Wow.
So
That's,
I'll need to educate
that's
everyone.
fine. I get it, but please let's choose our words wisely
Yeah,
for the
this is a.
purpose of staying within guidelines.
It sounds completely made up, because it is, but it sounds completely made up. Yet it's been proven 17% of Americans, they believe this is true.
Wow. And that's a
This
big
is
number.
the
17%.
phenomenon for QAnon. Have you
Ah,
heard of that?
I have heard of QAnon, and 17% would be a big number
17% of
of the
Americans,
American
they believe,
population. That's
yeah,
close to what,
they
30
believe
million?
that that for Hillary Clinton is the leader of this band of pedophiles and
What?
Satanists that are trying to gain control of the politics and media. This was the whole thing that was running through the campaign for Donald Trump. And 17% of Americans, they believe that this is
Wow.
true. Now, this has its origins from a book published for 1921
Oh, okay.
called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion is the name of the book. So this
Okay.
was made for the purposes of forwarding a whole lot of anti-Semitism. So to boil everything down,
Yeah.
this is one of the books Hitler read
All right, we're
that
going.
allowed him to actually allowed him for targeting all the Jews, as they were the reasons for the Germans facing all the poverty and the economic hardship after the First World War. You know, this all went on and on and on. But this is where the origins of the fact that there's this race of people that's in full control of everything around the world. So the internet has really forced all this forward.
Yeah, of course it has.
They're basically having to melt all the conspiracy theories and be able to move them into a way where people can hold on to it and spread it like a disease. So this is what led to for the Capitol in America being stormed by all those those far right, you know.
Yeah.
And it leads people to believe things that you wouldn't expect from what you believe is a normal thinking person.
Mm.
But the prevalence of these theories, which have existed, as I said, this book was printed for 1921.
100 years ago.
And it's seen to be one of the most dangerous books ever published, because for the weak-minded, they read this and they believe that it
contorts
all
their
some
reality,
kind of
right?
secret, and this is the first thing. So this is very much a precursor to what we have now in the internet, because the internet now is that vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to get them out there. Yeah. Anything. It's absolutely. And not to go into too much detail because we need to be careful, but it is happening now. It's always been happening, but even more so now. It seems to be a more heightened activity of conspiracies.
You know, what is the purpose of the microchips?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And for those, obviously we can't.
That.
Yeah, well, we can say microchips, but you know, with what's happening right now with the health crisis, apparently in the solution exists microchips. So
there's all sorts of things.
If humanity had the technology to make microchips that small in those numbers, which we run out of semiconductors anyway. So
we've run out now. We've got a shortage as it is.
So
I get what you're saying. And I think let's not go into too much detail before we could find ourselves in trouble. We don't want to get in trouble, but I think the point you're trying to make is that just at saying that, and if you were to step through it logically, it's an impossibility to get that quantity of that required product.
There's no logic in it. There's no science in it. There's no sense. It's just a belief without fact.
Yeah. And I think it comes back to your point earlier, is if I believe this and I hold on to this as fact, I can divorce myself of the reality and not be held responsible because I'm moving myself away from the truth because of my right to freedom of speech, which we have, that I can sort of go with this to not believe that. I know it's very difficult to explain without being able to use an example.
I think what is at the center of it is that it's always somehow the rich and powerful are at fault.
And after
the rich and powerful are the reason. You know, there's another for conspiracy theory that the whole crisis was started for Bill Gates.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, which is
this is why.
It feels like your head's going to fall off because you're shaking it so much.
I know.
What is wrong with you?
And they fizzle out, right? Like these conspiracies, they gain some momentum, and then because they don't gain the volume of momentum needed, they fizzle out, and then something else comes up to try and build that. And it's sort of been these waves, these absolute waves of conspiracy theories of late. And it seems, my logic tells me it's because one hasn't grown enough legs to really have more people jump on board with it.
Yeah, so exactly what you're saying. Exactly what you're saying. So I mentioned for Hillary Clinton, Rothschilds, and it's all the conspiracy children, and now they've added into that they're also for lizard people. So it's like exactly what you're saying. When the one theory doesn't hold water, they add something else on top.
We need
of
something
it
better
just to make it. So they're lizard people as well, Phil. They're
lizard people. What are lizard people?
So Hillary Clinton is the leader.
I've heard of this. I've heard of. I don't know. I can't remember the gentleman's name. He's an Englishman. I can't remember his name.
He used to be a soccer player.
Yes.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
And he stopped playing soccer when he was 23 because he had arthritis.
Yes.
And now he's some huge anti-Semite, and
and it's the lizard.
He believes
people.
the royal family are actually for lizard people.
Yeah.
But
what are lizard
there's
people?
no way you can back that up. That's what I just don't understand. Like you can say anything you want. It's like L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard wrote a book. He was a scientific fiction writer.
Yeah.
He actually wrote an article saying in his opinion, the best way to make money is to start a religion, of which he did so.
And he's proved that theory right.
Yeah. And how people manage to buy into Scientology is completely beyond me.
Well, hang on. Look, each to their own, because they could say, hey, you can buy into Catholicism or Islam or any other religion. That's fair enough.
But the thing with all the major religions, for all forms, like the main 4 or 5 religions, that they all disseminate from history.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Right?
This has come from.
It is human. Like all of the Bible is human history,
and the Quran and all different types of.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they all stem from a place of human history.
There's a lot of history behind it, whereas L. Ron Hubbard.
And they all share the fact that there is one God.
Was it back in the 60s or 70s? When did he write this?
Yeah, he started this in the 60s. He was actually a science fiction writer, where he was paid 1 penny per word or something like that for all the stories that he used to be just slamming away at the typewriter making all these stories. And the guy started a religion, and it's the end of it is a ridiculous theory that there was aliens that came down to Earth 100,000 years ago and planted eggs in volcanoes. And it's just...
It sounds like science fiction, but hey, look.
And I drive past the one, it's for near Essendon, near Flemington Racecourse.
Yeah,
it's just, it astounds me every time.
Well,
because
look, it could be the sort of
amazing
thing where the stories that we have from our religious background could astound others. So I think what's, and we're sort of moving away from the conspiracy theory part, but the lizard people, part, that's an interesting, and getting back to the pylon of when something didn't work, pylon on again to try and bolster the conspiracy.
Just rehash it.
Yeah. And I look.
So like I said, all this stems
seems like a lot of work.
From the book in 1921.
Yeah, but
it's just been added on over the years. So the Nazis had their go at it. Then all the other regimes afterwards in different countries have used it. Even some of the Arab countries have used it as a way of promoting anti-Semitism and all. It's all just a conspiracy that has no basis in fact whatsoever.
What purpose? Why is it? I guess a question that no one's been able to answer for me is, why have a conspiracy theory? Is it to be able to go, aha, see, I was right. I told you. I told you. Aha. I'm just wondering, what is it? The existence of a conspiracy theory, while it's something which you can detach, or you can attach onto to remove yourself from what others consider the truth, and therefore responsibility and things like that, depending on the conspiracy. But why have
I think it's a vehicle.
So important?
I think it's a vehicle because there's an end goal eventually. even if it's just to create some sort of anarchy or some sort of some sort of hesitant, to make people hesitant.
Distrust? Could also be distrust.
Yeah, they want people to but it's.
Could they themselves feel
Serves a
they don't
purpose.
trust something and therefore they don't.
If you mistrust everything, like you mistrust the government, you mistrust the law, you mistrust all of medicine.
Yeah.
Which, you completely omit the fact that that's how you've managed to live safely and healthily up until this point. Now all of a sudden, like, they say things like there is a cure for cancer, but it's only for rich people. But plenty of famous and wealthy people also died from cancer. So if the cure was evident and only existent for a certain few, it wouldn't happen. But the chief among which I feel, which is the flat Earth people.
Yeah.
Now whether that's
moon landing.
I think we could almost do a whole show on the flat Earth movement. So for those of you that are not aware, but you may be aware in history in the past, prior to man really exploring on ships, finding other lands, there was the belief that if you're in a ship and you go too far, you will fall off the edge. Because all they could see at the end of the ocean was they could see the horizon, and they believed that
was the edge.
Nothing there.
Yeah.
So the flat Earth people, they believe all of us in Australia are just actors on a movie set. Because it's impossible. If you believe in flat Earth, that means Australia doesn't exist, because if the Earth is flat, Australia is the land down under.
On the other side.
Yeah, so we actually don't exist. We're on a Hollywood set, is what the theory is.
I'll tell you what, I'm not getting paid like a Hollywood actor. I ain't seen that money.
Yeah, and
hang on a second. This is legit. You're saying that people believe...
This is absolutely legit. The flat earthers, they believe that obviously the Earth is not a globe.
No.
The Earth is somehow elliptical. It's like an oval.
It's an oval, but thick enough, and nothing underneath it.
So the crust and the mantle, so there's nothing. It's actually flat. So everything
like a disc
that we've apparently been shown from astronauts in space and satellites is all fake. Like, it's made so that it looks like that.
Oh.
So
okay,
they don't have an explanation for gravity, which is like, well, how do you explain the gravity then? And clearly, when you look up at the moon, it's not flat.
No.
It's not flat. It's a celestial.
But surely it's not just Australia. I mean, it must be other countries as well, right? What about South?
No, but this is how they believe that the world map, instead of being in a sphere, is actually flat. But Australia doesn't actually exist.
So New Zealand mustn't either.
And what about Antarctica? And what about the poles? There's no actually north and south pole.
So how does it spin?
How
does the world spin?
That's what I'm saying. They can just say, but it is a serious movement, and there's people that are trying to find the science that proves it. I've watched a show where they actually tried to prove that the Earth is flat by going to a very large salt lake, and they put one pole at one end of the lake and another pole at the other end, and their plan was they would shine a laser from one pole to the other. Now, if the Earth is flat, if it's 9 meters at this end, the laser should hit 9 meters at the other, right?
If it's exactly flat.
If the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
Because it was a long way away.
Yeah.
So they shone the laser.
Yeah.
And instead of it hitting the same point, it either hit much lower or it hit higher. obviously, because the Earth it's curved. And just to watch the look on their faces after going through all the preparation, and then
Did it convert anybody?
they're blaming it on how the atmosphere is, the air temperature is too cold at one end.
Gravity.
That refracts the laser.
Refract. Something sounds fracked to me.
Yeah, it's very fracked.
Fuck's sake, come on.
And these
Earth.
people.
I didn't realize. I thought it was something in like in the past. I didn't realize there was a strong.
No, it is a very strong movement right now, and it has been for a few years. And there's many people that keep trying to say that it's some sort of. What is the reason why any government would want to make you think that the Earth is round when it's not and it's flat? I don't see what's the motive.
So if we're Hollywood actors, right?
Australia's a movie set.
We're a movie set based where? In Hollywood.
Some kind of studio.
So there's
some
a
kind
movie
of studio
set
somewhere.
Big enough to fit the city.
Yep.
To fit the MCG.
Accent, the animals, the environment, Ayers Rock. I don't know.
The whole outback.
Yeah.
Mabo.
All the indigenous people, Mabo.
Wow. Western Australia, that's half of Australia.
Who invented Vegemite then?
Jeez. Wow. That's interesting.
Also, there's also for the Illuminati as well.
Yeah, we've heard about the Illuminati. Yeah. Yes, I have.
Those apparently. So this again stems from that book because it was a secret of a cohort of Zionists that were planning world domination. It's amazing that some psychopath wrote this book.
I know, because
1921, and it's.
I mean, my question is, and Zion goes back to like even before 1921. It goes back centuries, right?
Zionists. Well, that's what the sons of Abraham are called.
They were gonna dominate. Wouldn't have it happened by now? It was gonna
happen.
But
it's always easier to blame. It's like racism. It's the same. It's exactly like racism. That's how it works. You blame some unfortunate circumstance on a label of people.
Yep.
That
it just seems like a lot of energy.
Rallies are the ones that you're trying to make all the convincing for, and this is why it works so well. And somehow I think it's kind of shameful a bit for humanity because we have so much information available to us so easily.
Yeah.
Yet we still think as if those people from the 20s who believed all that and just went out and started
haven't evolved really.
Jews and smashing people's shops. And
we're using modern technology to hang on to theories from 100 years ago, basically.
Yeah.
And we're just recycling. So when they say history's repeating, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of energy focused on something which just needs so much energy to keep alive, sort of thing. It's really like I find it very hard to understand conspiracy.
It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what religion, what for culture you want. The basic needs of humanity are the same.
Absolutely.
Everyone just wants to live a wholesome life, where you have food, shelter,
Mate, we're like
raising a family, or
we're like Easter eggs.
Doing
different wrapping,
doing the simple things in life.
Chocolate on the inside, we're exactly the same.
So why do we insist in trying to make one group hate another group for
I don't know if it's
some kind of fantasy?
I don't know if it's hatred either. I mean, it's conspiracy theories, all different sorts of things. A lot of it is also some people believe that everything that happens is for the purpose of controlling them as well. So they
don't like to be told.
Well, they don't like to be told. My view on that is they have difficulty in understanding certain things is civic duty. Not everything, but certain things. If you're going to live within a society, well, you need laws in a society. You need rules. You need order. Otherwise, freedom isn't necessarily do whatever you want, say whatever you want, without being held to account. That's not freedom. That's anarchy. Right?
Freedom has a price.
Freedom has a price.
Self-sacrifice.
It does, absolutely. And, when you're living in a society, you are responsible for your actions and for your words, but also responsible on how you interact with others and how you do things. Now, I find a lot of conspiracy theories lately are about, trying to devoid, and I said this a few times in this podcast, divorcing yourself from reality. If I believe it's not true, then it's not true. And you can't tell me otherwise. So then you can't make me do the thing that you need me to because I don't believe it's true.
I was told last week that you better mark this day because this is what I'm saying, and you better write this down, that by this time next year, the Australian government will be shooting people in the streets.
Wow, really?
And
government, are we talking
people
federal,
will
state?
be...
What are we talking here? Because we have two.
Just said that the government is going to start to be shooting people in the streets, and the health crisis is only just the way to maintain the control of all of us.
Dude,
I'm building a bunker.
I can just. This is the thing. Government.
My family has farmland up north.
If you've got a tax number and you pay tax, right, and if you've got a mobile phone, you've got a bank account, government knows everything they need to know about you, and you're already under control.
That's right.
Right. And this whole thing about government control, and we're sort of maybe veering off topic, we need to be careful. It gets back to your point earlier. People just don't want to be told because there's this frame of mind of, I have rights. You do. But it's within a framework of living within a society as well.
And what happens when you go home and you switch electricity on? You switch your lights on. How do you think all that happens? How do you think your car has somewhere to actually be used? The roads just don't happen by someone going, oh, look, there's roads. When you need to go to get your medical certificate for your fake work cover, there's a doctor. We have Medicare.
Again, the conspiracy is, in my view, if you were to ask, I've said a few times, it's divorce yourself from reality. And if you do that, I know I've repeated myself, but if you do that, then you feel like you don't have to be held to account. Simple.
And it's very easy to have opinions that you don't have to prove with fact.
No.
You can just say whatever you like and scream at people that they need to understand that what you're saying is the truth, but you don't have any fact to actually prove it. No. Like, it's like certain religious groups have predicted the end of the world. One very large religious group has predicted three times. And I don't know what they do when they're all standing there. The end is coming, everyone. And then the clock goes past the hour that they said on the day that they said it would happen, and they're like, "Oh,
that's good."
That's good. It's like, just hold it a second. I'll go at the back and see. Maybe there was something wrong with the clock. But it happens all the time. Look, I think the fundamentals of it, that as human beings, we want to believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we want to feel like we're a part of something. We want to feel like it's that herd mentality.
Yeah, well, we are social creatures.
And I think people like to believe in something that's a little bit on the fringe because maybe it makes them a little bit more special.
Possibly.
Maybe it makes them non-conformists. Non-conformity is very much a fashion. And in this, we have kind of sort of homogenized all forms of for culture, and we are for the cult of the individual as well. We reward people who shouldn't be rewarded at all.
Yeah.
But yet they gain fame and for notoriety for something that should go to those that are actually helping the community.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is the world we live in. So
At the moment,
all the conspiracy theories kind of play into all of it.
it's very consuming, though.
But
It'd be very consuming. I mean, I don't understand it because I don't do it.
I don't understand how you would function.
Yeah.
If you try to buy into it, because they all are incomplete. Like you all, if I go back to Scientology again, I'm not hanging it on Scientology
But
as
just
such,
any
but
conspiracy, yeah.
it leaves people at the end with nothing. Like they've spent so many years of their life for believing something that is completely void of anything that you need as a human being.
Yeah.
You have put all your faith and all your efforts into something that's completely empty. And it leads people down a path of just horrible insecurity.
Well, I think history's shown that what good's ever come from a conspiracy theory, right?
No, it's perpetrated to cause only chaos.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. Yeah, that is true, because it's like throwing grenades in a way, right? That's one way to look at it, if you can put it simplistically. But
throwing one in a dark room and hoping that everything will be.
Look, for some people, it's as far as common sense goes, the difficulty for some people in society to understand and grasp conspiracies is because there's the logic behind it and the story, and there's just so many unanswered questions and disproved, and almost there's no way to prove that. And almost
I think that's that's how the conspiracies
how does
always maintain a life, because there's no way to prove it.
Yeah. Because how can a small group of people know the truth? And I said this earlier, compared to others, like all these intelligence agencies and all. I mean, are they keeping it secret? I just think
if ScoMo in Glasgow doesn't know anything that's going, the man is an absolute embarrassment.
Yeah, I know.
ScoMo in Glasgow, he doesn't know anything that's going on at all.
Yeah.
What hope do we have for
good
being
topic
able to work through all the conspiracies? Good
topic. It's it was a difficult one to, not for you and I to discuss, but in order to keep in the context and within a guidelines.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not in the business of just insulting anyone for the beliefs that they want to hold. I believe everyone has a right to hold the beliefs that they want.
Yeah, but
it's a human. It's a human right.
But conversely, it's our right to question in order to get a better understanding and to contest a conspiracy theory. I don't have any problem doing that. And hey,
the great part of being a critical thinker is that you examine all aspects of the argument.
Yeah,
and the issue.
Yeah, don't call them out as you're wrong. I never say you're wrong. I just ask questions. I want to know, want to understand better. It's just interesting to find them squirming for answers sometimes, and it's almost like, am I leading you to a realization right now or something? So,
and often these people are the ones screaming.
I've had people get upset and just off they go.
Yeah, I don't understand why you're getting so upset. I'm just asking you
questions.
Okay, explain to me.
Yeah.
If they are lizard people,
how?
What purpose? Would they have on Earth? For world domination. Of what? As lizard people, what do they need? Because I view everything as, when you think about things, when you really think about
Yeah.
things, everything has a motive. There's a
Of
reason.
course, there's a goal at the end, and domination
Yeah.
is you want something.
That's right.
What do you
So
want?
how are the lizard people? If the royal family are lizard people,
Mhm.
what is the purpose that serves? But it's always easy to throw something
Mm.
on the wall and hope that it sticks because you don't know anyone in the royal family, and even if you did, they would find some way to change the story so that it all makes sense.
It's interesting.
But
Ah,
I do have some news though.
okay, let's lighten
There's
it
a
up.
new contender.
Oh, for
So
what?
there's been no further sightings of the blind lion. I
Oh no.
think it's because we're now gone from lockdown to lockout.
Yeah, well, we're getting towards lockouts.
Everyone is out and
Yeah.
about. I must say it's great to see life returning. It's great to hear all the neighbours laughing and having some people over. Only the 10 that they're allowed.
At the
No
moment,
more.
yes, we've got still a few restrictions.
Have you heard of the Carrot Man?
Carrot Man? No.
The
Who is
Carrot Man.
I can see he's holding a
Yep.
paper
So,
mache carrot.
in the vein of the blind lion, this man, for more than a year now, has been walking around Melbourne in the city. As you can see, this is Swanston Street.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah.
Holding a 3-foot carrot.
For more than a year.
Yeah, he just walks around holding a 3-foot carrot.
How has that never made the news?
It has.
It has. I don't watch the
This
news.
is
No
not
channel.
like a news for like.
No, it's news
I
to
feel
me.
I'm the one that broke the blind lion. I don't think
You
anyone
did?
else was
No.
reporting on the blind lion.
No, that's
But
your.
this man predates the blind lion, as far as I know.
So he just walks around.
He's
holding a carrot.
been in selfies. He's been interviewed.
Wow. What's the
He
purpose? Do we know the purpose why he walks around with
because
a
he
carrot?
just likes making people smile. Phil,
Ah, another hero.
another hero,
Wow.
just a selfless act.
Just he does his daily exercise, takes his
Yep.
carrot with him. People look at him, little chuckle, little smile, lightens up the
So for
day.
those on Spotify and Anchor,
Yes.
there's a I don't know if you'd say elderly, and maybe he's a man of a reasonable
Senior
age.
gentleman.
He's not old. Yeah,
He's a
he's a
senior
senior
gentleman.
man.
Yeah.
He just walks around inner city areas of Melbourne, in Australia, holding a 3-foot long representation of a carrot.
Yeah, it looks like a paper mache.
Yeah.
He's built it or done something and he's made it.
And his name is Irfan Nathan.
Yep.
And he just likes making people smile. That's it.
And that's what he does. And he just walks around doing that.
So I don't know whether he inspired the blind lion, but
well, the colour
obviously
looks the
that's
same.
a bit of an oxymoron saying that he inspired the blind lion. I don't know how the blind lion had to have someone explain it.
True.
And not show him a picture of the carrot man, but
that is great. See,
so inspired by the
it looks pretty similar.
blind lion.
We've got the picture of the blind lion up, and then it's got the orange suit on. Kind of looks like.
So yeah,
surely
so
it's not.
Please, if you are out and about, which you surely are now, in Melbourne, because
you are in Melbourne,
we have our freedoms. And you see the carrot man or the blind lion, please hit us up.
Yeah.
And let me know.
Yeah.
And
please
Gmail. Let us know.
Yep. On our Gmail, toodads.pc@gmail.com, twodads.pc@gmail.com, and let us know. Another hero. That's great.
We very much enjoy selfless acts.
Oh, absolutely. It's
just something
talk
purely
about civic
to make
duty.
people smile. Yeah.
We're big advocates of civic duty here.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
It never goes old.
No.
It's like having very good manners, saying please and thank you. It's just one of those things that never goes out of fashion.
And it goes a long way. It's an impact.
Especially with the last over 2 years of the world's had.
Yeah, it's been tough.
Some kind of selfless
Hopefully.
act is very much appreciated.
Absolutely. So what else do you have for us? You always have something that you've spotted and found and odd, and I know you have something up your sleeve, Sid.
There's another
Long enough to
restaurant
know.
I've seen on for Glenferrie Road in Malvern.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually closed because after the pandemic they couldn't stay open.
Oh no, that's a shame.
Right. It's some sort of a specialty for bread shop.
Okay. Yep.
It's called Been There. For dough that. Been there, dough that.
Been there, do that.
Dough that.
People, do they sit down? They must, surely.
Don't tell me you don't like a good pun, because there's so many of them.
I didn't realise how many puns that exist in the city of Melbourne. I reckon if we were to do some sort of survey and we were to look up businesses around other states, even globally, surely globally we can't be the only city.
No, globally, obviously, yeah, but
surely. But that's been there,
you gotta love been there, do that. There's another one for Box Hill Asian restaurant. Walk this way.
Walk this way.
Walk this way. Walk
this way.
Walk this way.
That is great. That is fantastic.
I know I've used 3 in one show, but
that's great. Yeah, but hey, it just goes to show. It goes to show that there is plenty more out there.
There's plenty more.
Absolutely. Any other odd spots? I got an odd spot for you.
Okay.
I got an odd spot for you. Something I read. It happened a couple of weeks ago. An unfortunate situation for a gentleman in the UK who was enjoying the last days of summer in his backyard. And he was just sunbaking in the backyard, and all of a sudden he was covered in a substance which at first he didn't realize what it was, but soon realized that it was, let's put it, excrement, which had been
his whole body, or just
whole body, everything just right on top of him. It was later discovered that an airplane passing overhead had hit the eject button and scored 100 points.
Isn't there some sort of like a fail safe?
Apparently not. I don't know whether it was accidentally pressed, because it seems like an odd place to eject, sanitary waste. But this poor gentleman, literally, his whole backyard.
I don't know whether you say how unlucky or how lucky, because if you think the average aircraft is doing 800k an hour,
that's what I'm saying. Is
with wind speed.
So
and the fact that the excrement would have to be that solid to actually stay intact.
Yeah, it's sort of. I don't know whether it was slowing down. It's bizarre. Yeah,
it would have spread out like a mist.
I don't. Yeah, it's
at 800 kilometers plus an hour.
Congealed. I don't know how it works. I've got no idea. But this poor gentleman, 1 minute he was sunbathed, and the next minute, there you go. That's my odd spot. That's what I saw, and I thought, what are the chances? What are the chances? Could you just imagine the poor bloke? Oh, blew me now. What? What's all this?
That's. I'm sure he probably screamed out to his wife saying, "Darl, I think the suntan lotion is off."
Something I don't know. What are the chances? Just things that happen odd around the world. Unbelievable. But that was his last days of summer. What are you going to do? Unfortunately.
It's the reason why the English is so pale.
They stay indoors. Watch out for
the fake tan.
I think we've reached
You'd
that
much rather
time.
look like an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, we've reached that time of the podcast where we wrap things up.
It's a wonderful Friday evening where,
Hmm
been
Things are getting back to
it's
normal.
been an interesting week. Things are
Yeah,
getting back to normal now.
things are
We're
getting back to normal.
enjoying the traffic.
Yeah, for those of us who are traveling, and you are one
Yep.
that travels a lot, so you'd definitely be seeing that increase over the course of these past few days as people
Yep.
have gone back to clogging the roads. That's for sure. But and leading into Christmas, it's probably only going to get worse when you think about it. Well,
Yeah. Well, it's just it's the way things are. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure there's some sort of a reason for that. Maybe it's the government trying to maintain the control of us so that we don't go any
here we
further
go.
than what they want us to.
You got a conspiracy.
The all seeing eye.
Oh, on that note,
Oh man.
thanks everyone for joining us on our fifth episode of the podcast.
Thanks for
Sid,
listening. Thanks for watching.
thanks for listening and watching,
Phil's the Uber
please.
man. I am the other man.
That's the way we roll.
And it's Friday, man.
Yeah, man. And please hit the subscribe button. If you do click on the like. It changes color when you do that. And please comment and help push the channel along. It'll be really great for to reach as many people as we can. And as always, been a pleasure.
Really appreciate all the support.
Yep. And thank you for bringing up a very interesting topic, Sid. It's a good one this week. Very good.
Feel free to send us any suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, if you see the Carrot Man, let us know. And before you sunbake,
Or the blind lion.
yeah, and before you sunbake, check the skies. So
And help him with his mask because it's most likely at the end of the stick.
he's still stuck
Even
there
though he doesn't have to, you don't have to wear your mask outside.
outside anymore. So we
He
should be
goes
right.
inside anyway.
The
Just
lion
to show
head.
how responsible the lion is.
That's right.
He still carries a mask,
Yep.
even
If
though he's wearing
a mask.
he's wearing,
A big
wearing
head
a
mask.
mask, a big mask, but he still has the one. So
Oh.
if you see him on a train somewhere, just holding the lion's head with the mask on his face like everyone else,
Good chance.
say hello.
Well, thanks again, Sid. Thanks, everybody. You take care of yourself, and we'll catch you next week.
Right, everyone, stay safe.
Stay safe. Good night.